going.
Hi, I'm Lydia Dittrich. Welcome to my first online Pampered Chef cooking show. We hope you enjoy yourselves tonight, and the theme for the show is going to be party prep in 30 minutes. We've all had it happen, that unexpected phone call that your husband's boss is coming over, or you forgot her anniversary, and you really need to impress them in a hurry. We've come to your rescue with our Test Kitchen approved recipes for 3 savory and delicious canapes. We're going to be making stuffed portobello mushroom caps, decadent dipped strawberries, and elegant fondue. All of this can be pulled together in 30 minutes and use 5 products or less to do it. So let's get started. To get everything together in the 30-minute time frame, we're going to start with the strawberries. I've got here some fresh California strawberries. I have 6 ounces of semi-sweet morsels. I have a 1/4 cup of white chocolate morsels. And the only other thing you need is canola oil. To get started, we're going to add a tablespoon of canola oil to the dark chocolate. And we're going to add a full teaspoon to the white chocolate. Now I've pre-rinsed my strawberries so that the food is going to be fresh when it's served. Now we're going to go to the microwave. And when I do my chocolate in the microwave, I put it in for a minute. These are our 1 cup prep bowls. They're microwave safe, oven safe. And we'll just let that go. And now I'm just going to grab a spoon so that we can stir it. And our chocolate's coming along nicely. You can see it's starting to lose its shape, but as you stir down to the bottom, it's getting to get nice and melty. It looks like it might need maybe about another minute. Now just a caution, when the glass comes out of the microwave for a lengthy period of time, it is rather warm. I have worked with baking and hot pans for quite a while, so I have asbestos fingers, but we'll just rinse off the dark chocolate. And we'll do the same to the white chocolate. The white chocolate is not actually chocolate, it is the fat from the rendering process that makes cocoa, but it's still delicious. I was going to make a nice treat with our strawberries. So yeah, about another minute on both. And then we'll be ready to start dipping. So what we've got here for this recipe in terms of products that I'll be using we have the accurate measure tablespoon and teaspoon set. They come as a pair. This is one item. And then I've also got these 1 cup prep bowls, which I was showing you before. They're measured. They're tempered glass, so they're oven safe, microwave safe. And they also have a wonderful little storage lid, so if you're doing your prep and getting things ready, you can pop the top on and save it for later. It's great for making yourself little yogurt parfaits. Then we also have the microplane zester, which is used to make this nice, finely grated cheese. And we have the microplane coarse grater, which is an adjustable. You can either grate this way, or you can stand and grate on the cutting board. Both of these are incredibly sharp and do a wonderful job. So let's go check our chocolate. And as you can tell, we're cooking with children. Now it's getting a little warm even for me, so we'll grab a pot holder. And yes, that's about perfect. This is ready to dip. We'll bring this one right over, and we'll get the white chocolate the same treatment. And the white chocolate being a little bit fattier might take a little bit more time, but that's okay because we're going to be working with the darker chocolate first. You can see how this is kind of thick. But remember, we're pampered chefs, not perfect chefs. I'll give that another minute more. So we'll come back to our dark chocolate and taking our clean washed berry, we're going to dip and then place out on a sheet of waxed paper. These will harden in about 5 minutes, so they can sit at room temperature while we continue working with the rest of the project for the evening. And don't worry about making a mess on your waxed paper. We'll be serving them on a much prettier dish later on. If your chocolate hardens up, or you want to get some of the sides, use the spoon to coat. And as I started to say, if your chocolate hardens up before you finish dipping all of your berries, simply put it back in the microwave. And if you need to, you can add a little bit more oil. Don't those look good? You checking it out, Dominique? They look yummy, don't they? Give Mommy a little bit, they'll be ready to eat. Okay? So now we're ready with our white chocolate, hopefully.
Mommy.
And I'm really glad this happened now because it's actually a pretty common thing. This chocolate didn't melt quite as well as we hoped it would. So, in this case, I'm going to add a liberal bit more oil. See if I can't help it along a little bit. I just put in another tablespoon of the canola oil. Oh yeah, and it's warm enough. I don't have to microwave it again. Dominique, please watch your fingers, it's warm. So now, because this is a little bit thicker consistency than you typically see, I must have had an interesting batch of chips. What you can do is we take our freshly dipped dark chocolate and give it a couple coatings and dip the end. You also have the option of warming it up a little bit more and then drizzling with your spoon. And as you can see, it's a little bit thicker than we might hope for, but still pretty. Still more presentation than most people think they can pull off inside 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And we'll take some of the ones that have been sitting a little bit longer and dip. Now you have really beautiful, really easy, very romantic little dessert. How many times would this gotten you guys out of the doghouse, huh? So we'll let those sit while we prepare the rest of the meal. Now we've got our sweet, let's start working on our savory. The next dish is going to be the stuffed portobello mushroom caps. Now the original recipe calls for the larger portobello mushroom, and those that you can find easily in any supermarket. I have on hand the baby portobellos, and I like these because they're a nice meaty mushroom. They're good on salads, they're good on all kinds of things, and as you're going to find out, they make really nice little bite-sized appetizers. So to start with the mushrooms, what I've done, as you can see, is I've washed them, and you always wash the mushroom right before you use it. You don't wash it before you put it away or it'll go bad. And then I gently pulled off the bottom stem. It's really easy to do. You just grab, twist, and pull. And look at that, it pops right out. For this recipe, the products we're going to be using are the round covered baker, which is from our stoneware collection. It's also microwave safe, oven safe up to 400 degrees, and it cooks by convection, so it makes wonderful food. We're going to be using the classic batter bowl, which I call the bachelor's best friend. It's $15.50. It holds 8 cups of whatever you'd like to make in it. You can bake in it, you can microwave it. It's amazing. So, we're going to start by taking all those wonderful portobello stems that we've pulled off of our cleaned mushrooms. I'm going to take my little Sanchuco knife, this is the 5-inch blade, and just dice. Don't worry about your perfection, just worry about your fingers. And it's pretty easy to do this even with helpers, as you can see. These are my daughters, Brenna and Dominique, learning how to be chefs themselves, right, ladies? So just gently mince them up into nice little bits. While I was getting ready for the show, I preheated my oven to 425 degrees to bake the mushrooms. And they don't have to be perfect. This isn't a cooking competition with a certain angry Scotsman. We're pampered, not perfect. And we're going to toss the stems right into our batter bowl. And this bowl really is the workhorse. It does everything. Now we're going to take our garlic press, which is one of the more amazing tools that I like to demonstrate. And we need 2 small cloves of garlic. You don't have to trim the ends. You just put the whole thing in, skin and all. Pop off the skin and get ready to do the second clove. Now isn't that better than making your eyes water? And it gives a really strong, nice garlic flavor to your dishes. So we've got our pressed garlic in there. I've got one of my prep bowls with a little bit of Asiago cheese. You can get this at any specialty grocery store. And they do make a larger microplane fine grater, similar in size to the big one. But for grating into the prep bowls, I prefer the zester. And these blades are incredibly sharp, so watch your fingers. Makes great Parmesan for your spaghetti and meatballs. Add some citrusy flavor to your salads and your baked goods. And it really doesn't take a whole lot of effort. So to the top of the line is a cup. And you can see it just flies right along. It makes it look like snow. My kids call this the snow machine. And then I always run my finger down the back to catch the last little bits of flavor. Now we've got a nice cup of fresh grated cheese. Into the bowl it goes. I've got some pre-cut breadcrumbs. You can also get a nice piece of toasting bread. Just plain old Wonder Bread will do in a pinch if you're really in a hurry. Just take our knife and dice them up. And you see how they start to crumble? That's actually wonderful because it's going to make a nice, satisfying filling. And this recipe usually makes a little bit extra filling. So if you wanted to throw it into one of the stoneware bakers and cook it off and serve it as stuffing, that would be a really satisfying side as well. And all the breadcrumbs are going to go in the bowl. And last two ingredients, we're going to put in some fresh basil. I found this in the produce section. You're looking for nice fresh leaves, and you're just going to pluck off a few because we only want about 2 tablespoons for the recipe. And the French, oh, this smells so good. I wish you could smell this. It's a wonderful herb, good for all kinds of things. If you plant it outside your kitchen door, it's supposed to bring good luck. Now if we take our basil leaves, which I've pre-washed, and you roll them up into a small package, you can chiffonade like a pro. And just dice. And the dicing releases the oils from the herbs and makes a nice basil confetti. So that's about 2 tablespoons of herb, and it goes. And last but not least, the tomatoes. We've got 3 beautiful plum tomatoes. I'm just going to take the tops off with the knife. And then I'm going to core and de-seed them. The seeds and the core are going to add a lot of excess water you don't really want when you're baking in a hurry. So just take the knife and gently loosen the innards. We'll rinse them before we cut them any further. Make sure we get all the seeds. And look at these tomatoes. They're just perfect. When you're selecting your tomatoes, for all of the people who aren't as fascinated by food as I am, it should have a little bit of a give in your hand and not be too hard on the ends. So these are just ready to eat. And your guests are going to be so amazed at what you've done. So we're getting about halfway through the prep mark. You can see we've already got 1 dish finished. We're well on our way into the second. And you're wondering, how are you possibly going to make fondue in the rest of the time? Well, just wait and see. You won't believe how easy and tasty it really is. So I've rinsed the seeds out of my tomatoes. You can see they're ready to be handled. Alright, so now we're just going to dice these up. And I'm sure this is like most of your households, that there is no such thing as a quiet moment until they're sleeping. So isn't it comforting to know you're putting together something very elegant that she's going to think, oh, how sweet, he remembered our anniversary, or the boss is going to come over, and you're saying, oh, wow, you're a lucky dude, lucky lady. That's one of the many reasons I love the Pampered Chef. They do everything for you. They test the recipes, they go through all the glitches, so that when you make one of their dishes, you know it's going to work every time. It may not be perfect, but you're going to be pampered every step of the way. You can see how that knife just kind of slid right through the tomatoes. It's incredibly sharp. So the tomatoes go in the bowl. And doesn't that look wonderful? Just toss that in the oven and bake it like it is. That would be a meal for me. So now we're going to take our bowl and just gently mix it by hand. Toss everything together so you have the nice blending of flavors of the bread and the cheese and the mushroom stems, giving it that little bit of extra punch. And you just want it gently mixed. It doesn't have to be in puree or mashed up, because you want each bite to have each distinct flavor. So I'm just going to rinse my hands. And now we're going to get ready to work with the round covered baker and get these little babies in the oven. To do the whole thing in half an hour, it's really important to clean as you go as much as you can. So this is our round covered baker, as I mentioned before. It's unglazed stoneware on the inside and a nice cranberry finish on the outside, so that you can use this as the serving dish, and it makes a really nice presentation. Now I've got my clean prep bowl. I'm going to take about a tablespoon of olive oil. And all we're going to do is first we're going to take our clean mushroom, we're going to dip it in the oil just to coat the bottom, and then stuff your mushroom cap. You're going to put these into the baker. And these are going to be so good. Now these we're doing in the middle because they bake for between 16 to 18 minutes. So while this is baking in the oven, we're going to clean our batter bowl out, and we're going to use that to make our fondue. Oops. You want to try and cram as much flavor in as you possibly can. It really only just takes that little bit of oil to make the outsides crisp up nicely. And this is why I love Portobellos, because they are known to many in the vegetarian community as veggie steak. They have a really nice, meaty flavor, and even though you're making bite-sized portions, you can feel quite comfortable serving them to a very macho crowd. They will be impressed. And that little tablespoon of oil really does go a long way. So we're getting down to our smaller mushrooms. You don't want to overcrowd your pan. You just want to have everyone get in there and have enough room to be in the sauna together. I think that's probably plenty. So we're going to take our decovered baker and put the lid on. Put it in that nice piping hot oven, which was going to run for about 16 minutes. We'll say 17 and go for the middle ground. And we're going to work on our fondue next. So for this recipe, I've got the classic batter bowl, the large cutting board. We're going to use the big grater. And we're going to grate up a cup of sharp cheddar cheese. Now I pre-started this one, but I wanted to finish it and show you how even the big graters, it just flies right along. So there's our cup of sharp cheddar cheese. And these are wicked, so I always keep them away from the children because they're quite inquisitive. And we're going to take a second and get to our little French rolls here. I just found these at the supermarket, the bakery section. And actually the day-old bread is better for this because the crustier, the more it soaks up the cheese and gets all those nice flavors in there. So you're just going to cut a little canoe shape out of the top. And then these are going to be your fondue bowls. Great little presentation, very easy to do, very fun. My kids really enjoy this one. They think it's playing with their food. And then save the tops because you can use that for dipping later. We're getting to the home stretch. So now I have a cheddar cheese soup, 1 can. We're going to go and add this to the batter bowl with our cup of grated sharp cheddar cheese. And if you're getting ready for a boys' night in, poker and hot dogs and beer, this would be just as good served over hot dogs with Hormel chili as served with these fancy little French breads that are going to make your sweethearts melt. Remember, clean as you go as much as you can. Makes your life a lot easier, and it really doesn't add a whole bunch of time to the pot. I'm going to save our spoon. And now we're going to measure out a 1/4 cup of apple juice. And these little devils are the measures and pours. They come in 2 sizes. This is the larger. Liquid measures, you pour and measure. And this has a spout. Dry products, like flour, shortening, you just push down where you want it to be, fill it with your product, and you have the perfect measurement. So we're going for a 1/4 cup of apple juice. If you want to make this for a ladies' night in or a romantic dinner for 2, a nice Chardonnay or even a nice dark beer would go just as well. We're going to go back to our measuring spoons and we're going to add 1/8 teaspoon of red hot sauce. And who doesn't have that in their kitchen in the North Country? And this perfectly measures out exactly what you need for the recipe, even that little bit. So now we're going to toss it all together. And then this goes in the microwave for 3 to 4 minutes until the cheese has completely melted in. Just like with the chocolate, we're going to stir every minute. Make sure it goes in smoothly. And just like the chocolate, the glass is going to come out very hot. Even for my asbestos hands. We're up on our 2nd minute here. And you can see it's starting to get nice and hot. I think that's actually just about done. Isn't that funny how the white chocolate took more time and this took less time? And because you're in your nice tempered glass bowl, you can stir this in and then use the spout to just pour it off. Now to make a really nice presentation, we're going to take a plate. And it's all about symmetry when you're plating. Have fun with it. And we're going to fill each of our boats with this really amazing, really easy, elegant fondue. Don't be afraid to let the cheese run. That just makes it look that much more appetizing. I like to break mine up a little bit, give people the idea of what they're supposed to do with it. And then if you want to make it really pretty, we could take a little bit more of that fresh basil. You don't want the stems when you do the basil. The baby leaves are really tender and wonderful. The stems, not so much. And just make a little confetti. Half the fun of food is the playing with it, as any child will tell you. Right, Brenna? Mm-hmm. And just give it a little color. And look at that. Really easy, really fun. Anyone can do it. You don't need an oven. All you need is a microwave. And it's beautiful. I'm going to go back to my gorgeous strawberries here. And they are just about set up. So again, have fun with your presentation. Don't worry so much about perfection, because people are going to want to taste this amazing food. And doesn't that look good too? So we're going to get ready for our mushrooms. Time for the mushrooms. Now with the stoneware, if you have a stone countertop, you're going to want to be very careful about placing your hot stone on that stone countertop, because the temperature change will crack it. So using your hot mitts, if you don't have a trivet, which we also sell, carefully put it on a nice metal object like your range. And then let's come take a look at these babies, because it's going to be a work of art. Don't those look good? So easy. Mm-hmm. And the smell is so good. So we're going to go in behind. Turn off our oven. And using 2 of your larger tablespoons, just gently remove each little bite from the pan. And you can see it doesn't stick. Oh, that nice smell, that nice meaty Portobello smell. So yummy. And the most die-hard steak fan would like these. These should be served hot, which is why we started them in the middle to pull them out for the big finish. And when you're thinking about what wine do I put with these 3 things, champagne and strawberries are never a bad combo. For the stuffed mushrooms, a nice red Merlot would probably be good because it's a nice meaty little bite. And for the fondue, something light, nice New York Chardonnay. Now, because I can, and because we are just at the half-an-hour mark, I'm going to make it look pretty and give it a little snow. I just take a little bit of that Asiago cheese and dust it with the zester. Easy. And done. And doesn't it all look great? So there you have it. You have a party prepped, ready to go. You could sit back with your big glass of wine and enjoy in 30 minutes. Happy cooking, and I'll see you next time.